Well, welcome to Thortography on YouTube. I'm so glad that you stopped in and found this channel and found this video. Today we are going to talk about how to become a better photographer. But before we do, I want to give a quick shout out to the wardrobe sponsor here, Mule Resophonic Guitars. These guys, they make steel guitars by hand right here in Saginaw, Michigan. And it's been fantastic to see that process as they craft these amazing instruments from steel and wood. They've taught me a lot about the creative process and workflow, and I'm so glad that I can know them. And if you're ever in the area, and you should check them out, or at least check the link in the description below to find out what these instruments are like. So anyway, that said, one thing that Mule stands on is working hard and playing hard. Well, to become a better photographer, it does take a little bit of work, but I want to give you a couple pointers here. So the first thing that I would recommend is doing what I call quality practice. What does that mean? Well, you can go out and shoot, and that's great. You can have fun. But quality practice is shooting with a little bit more purpose, or trying to visualize the world in a particular way when you go and shoot. So you go and you shoot, and you get your images, you come back, and then you look at them carefully. You find out what you did well, or what you would have improved or done differently, how you might have changed things. And that way you can start to train your eye how to see and visualize the way that an image will look when you hit the shutter button. The second thing that I would recommend is getting some sort of structured training, whether that's through an online class or an in-person workshop, or even through a community college. Sometimes it's good to pick up a book. You know, these old books really have some useful information. Even though the technology has changed, some of the concepts of visualizing things and gaining a visual literacy haven't. One of my favorite resources is through the International Center of Photography, and I'll include a link to the curriculum that they provide below. It does take some self-direction and discipline to get better at anything, but if you have that structure, that'll at least get you going in the right direction. The third thing that I would recommend is really staying curious about the world and the way that the world works. You know, that's where ideas can come from. If you're asking questions, as my daughter likes to say, who's 2, she says, why, about 100 million times a day. And if you continue to ask that question, why, or see what things are happening in your environment, you can end up becoming a better photographer by capturing and documenting those things. The third thing that I would recommend is to, or fourth thing, excuse me, the fourth thing is to get connected with others who can give you good feedback. You know, going back to one of my initial points, you know, you want to look at the images yourself, but having somebody else look at them can also be helpful. Somebody who may be a little further down the road than yourself, who has perhaps more experience or a different experience than yourself, can look at your images and give you some good feedback. Just sort of a word of warning about posting pictures online. A lot of times there's immediate gratification and response and affirmation, but sometimes that affirmation isn't necessarily associated with feedback from those who have gone before. So it's good to find some people that have maybe a similar vision as yours, but have been doing photography a little bit longer. My last point is just to make sure that you're having fun when you're doing it. You know, it's a learning process, it's a continual process. I'm learning new things all the time. Whenever I shoot, I try and make an effort to learn something. And that process is fun. It can be fun. You know, at times it may be hard work, but if it becomes treacherous, then it might be a good idea just to step away for a bit and then come back to it, or develop another interest and not be so focused on becoming a better photographer that you lose your passion for photography. So I hope that some of these pointers will get you going in the right direction. It's by no means a complete list or the only way of doing things, but it will hopefully give you some thoughts about moving forward in terms of getting that quality practice in, developing a structure for how you learn, receiving feedback from others, having some fun, and staying curious. So if you have questions, feel free to leave a comment. Thanks for listening, and be sure to subscribe if you think this was helpful, or share it with a friend and invite them to tune in to the channel. And we'll see you next time. Thanks.